to hear more about the labs, Goose,
Well,
because we weren't
I,
recording on Facebook before when you said that.
yeah, I received this. A lot of the information, what happened, and I said again, I'm glad, Michael, that you do a lot of research because that's what we do in our team.
Mm.
And before we speak about it, I received this document from somebody, and the document is a treaty. You can look, maybe find it online on the RK or the government. Well, we signed in 2005 a treaty with Ukraine to take their guns,
Mm.
to
This is
destroy them.
in 2005, or is this the Budapest memorandum in '94 where we took the nukes?
2005.
Okay, so this is
2005.
something else. Okay.
Yeah, this is the treaty for the freaking weapons of mass destruction.
Do you know what the treaty's called?
Uh, I got it here,
Sorry, I'm asking
but
questions. I want to.
no, but the treaty was signed in 2005, and they the treaty, they say that they're supposed to destroy the weapon. When you read the treaty, no, they didn't destroy the weapon. We kept the weapons with the United States, and we promised Ukraine that we were going to stick up for them if anything happened.
I found it.
So nothing happened. Now we question ourselves, well, why Putin is going crazy in Ukraine? And now we found out that we have biological freaking weapons in Ukraine, funded by our freaking money.
So I found the
This shit,
treaty, and it's on the state
this
government
shit,
website.
this shit is deep. It's deep, and that's why Putin requested a UN meeting for this week to talk about the $200 million that the United States give to all those labs to be run. How not? Why they know that? They do have intelligence like we do.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why this guy keep bombing the shit out of Ukraine because all this stuff that's going on.
So
We are we are guilty about this shit that's going on. And 2 days ago, you listen to ABC or NBC, the Ukraine president came out and said he's willing to sit down to talk to Putin, and he will leave NATO request. He won't do it no more, and he will be willing to talk about the territory of Ukraine. He said he won't follow through NATO anymore. He just want peace. Do you think that our government try to set up any freaking meeting? No, they haven't said anything yet. The
no.
guy was on national TV.
Yep.
Now, you know why? Because like Raccoon say, the industrialized complex. We are selling guns, bullet, all kind of stuff, sending it to Ukraine. We just signed $17 billion for them a package. Who do you think is gonna get all that money? All these people that make all this freaking gun, all the people who got that freaking money. They don't care about Ukraine,
Mm-hmm.
but they just cares about the freaking money, Michael, and that's the truth.
No. So I have this treaty pulled up. It's on the state government website. It's just called Weapons Proliferation. It was signed in Kiev on August 29th, 2005.
Yeah.
And entered into force on the same day. And the agreement, it says, between the Department of Defense of the United States of America and the Ministry of Health of Ukraine concerning cooperation in the area of prevention of proliferation of technology, pathogens, and expertise that could be used in development of biological weapons. Now, it's got a few pages here. I haven't read anything because it's the first time I've heard of it. I'll read it tonight.
Go,
But
go to page 6, the top lines. Page 6.
six.
6 or
Okay.
7.
Okay, because some of them are blank here. Hold on. Is it 1, 2, 3, 4?
Or
I don't.
say biological threats.
No, that's hold on. Oh yeah, okay. Biological threats. The ministry. Oh, let me go back and. So it's section 5 here. In order to support the joint efforts of the parties to prevent the proliferation of dangerous pathogens and related expertise, and to minimize potential biological threats, the Ministry of Health of Ukraine shall transfer to the U.S. Department of Defense requested copies of dangerous pathogen strains collected in Ukraine for cooperative biological research in the centralized laboratories in Ukraine and in U.S. Department of Defense designated laboratories in the United States for prophylactic, protective, or other peaceful purposes. Details of such cooperation shall be defined in annual joint requirements and implementation plans developed in accordance with paragraph 7 of Article, I believe that is 15. Yeah. Of this, or Article 9 or 15, it's one of those, or Article 4 or Article 15. It's of this agreement, or I think it's Article 5. Of this agreement or in an implementing arrangement in accordance with Article, and that is 6 of this agreement, the Ministry of Health of Ukraine shall share with the United States Department of Defense data generated by the Infectious Disease Surveillance Network of the Ministry of Health of Ukraine or its designated agents in order for the parties to better detect, diagnose, and monitor disease outbreaks in Ukraine. Now, you're saying, so they said that this was removed, though. This sounds like the shit just kept on going in Ukraine, and we just wanted a cooperative.
Thank you. That's why you say,
Yes,
why he keep surrounding and going after all these labs, because we didn't believe they had labs, because nobody say that, all nuclear plants. And that's what he's doing. He's surrounding all those labs and everything, and that's why he want to talk to the UN now.
okay, guys,
Wow.
I want you to understand something now. What Mike just said and what was agreed upon goes against the Nuremberg and the Geneva Convention because they're doing this for gain of function. Gain of function means you add to make it better, not take away and make it less lethal. And you can't experiment or have the position to experiment on human beings. That's why they were never brought into the UN and never brought into NATO, because they are a bastard child of Europe.
According to them, they say that they destroy everything. Now, when you read, they did it. Now, why we had that Wuhan lab release pandemic that we just had the last 2 years? So, don't you really think when we fund that $8.4 million to those labs, don't you think that we are the one who created all this bullshit?
Did you read the part before this, before that section, Goose? I'm sure you may have read all of it because you saw that part. It says the ministry, this is section 4, guys. It says the Ministry of Health of Ukraine or its designated agent shall consolidate and store all dangerous pathogens at secure centralized laboratories designated in writing by the parties that have received or are receiving the U.S. Department of Defense assistance under this agreement. Hereinafter, centralized laboratories. The U.S. Department of Defense may provide molecular diagnostic capabilities, improved electronic communications, and equipment for the safe and timely transport of field pathogen samples to the centralized laboratories. So, and nothing that we know of yet, and I can probably answer this myself, but nothing has come out after this to stop this, right?
Until now, because this guy don't want to take that shit. Because we all being lied. They say that they destroy everything. They didn't. Oh, we give up all the weapons. We give up everything. You're supposed to defend our country. So they didn't. They didn't destroy anything. They got everything. So why do you think this guy going so crazy? I mean, we got these communists, freaking killer machine, killing all these innocent people. Why? Because shit like this. And the thing is, we can't stop him. Right now, the Senate is asking freaking Biden to come and testify. They want to know why he haven't done anything else, and why he's not doing more. We don't know. He might sell out the freaking U.S. We don't freaking know.
Mm-hmm.
Something else you guys got to remember is who was sponsoring this, since Ukraine's such a poor, lonely country. United States taxpayers were funneling money through our Congress, who allows it. And this is a big money-making opportunity for all the damn elite leaders of the world.
Like you say, Raccoon, the industrial complex right now are making so much fucking money. We just signed out a fucking bill. It was what, $17 billion for Ukraine?
And now it's crumbling down.
So,
Yeah.
so this is Article 12, V11. That's 12, right? Or 7. Sorry, that's 7. V is 5. It says, and then this is 2A. Or I'll read 2. It says, sensitive information or restricted information shall be protected in accordance with laws of the state of the party receiving the information. Then Section A says, according to the laws and regulations of the United States of America, such information shall be treated as sensitive information of a foreign government and shall be withheld from public disclosure to the extent permitted by laws and regulations of the United States of America. Any such information transmitted by the Ministry of Health of Ukraine to the U.S. Department of Defense must be accompanied by a written declaration from the government of Ukraine which states that it is withholding such information from public disclosure and that the information is provided to the government of the United States of America on the condition that it not be released to the public without the approval of the government of Ukraine. In this written declaration, the government of Ukraine shall specify the date until which the information provided should be withheld from the public disclosure by the government of the United States of America. The date may be extended by the U.S. Department of Defense to the extent permitted by the laws and regulations of the United States of America in accordance with a request by the government of Ukraine. Now, when did this become? When was this declassified?
Well, maybe when Trump got to the White House. Remember, he declassified a lot of stuff because he wanted people to know the truth. But we start searching now and looking through so many documents that we are finding things out. Unless you read, you don't want to know the truth. And right now, it's kind of weird that we start talking about this lab 2 days ago. Now we're going to go to the UN and challenge the United States.
Mm-hmm.
They got to have some proof. I want to see what they got because I don't trust my government.
The thing you have to remember too is they will disclose it on their own if they're not pressured, because they'll say, well, we have to have 100 years before we can do that. Make sure everybody's dead. And anytime the government wants to hide information, they just throw it under a national security clause.
Yeah, this is
but why it got released now. Why we found out all this stuff being released?
Because Donald Trump declassified the shit.
Yeah, Trump did declassify a lot of stuff. That's why people don't.
If he didn't, we still wouldn't know about it.
You know, this is what some people don't understand. Trump did so many things. It wasn't only, taking care of the economy, taking care of this. He has exposed a lot of people that were against us. Even Paul Ryan was against us. And he was running the freaking House of Representatives for 2 years. And he stole President Trump's freaking agenda for 2 years. And he was one of the guy who was in charge that's supposed to help Trump to push his agenda. And he didn't. That's another criminal. That's why he went to work for a freaking private goddamn firm, because he knew that shit was going to come out. Bunch of freaking criminals, Raccoon, and you know that.
And
just wait till the end of March Madness when China decides to take on the May Day.
Hey,
okay?
You already got North
all
Korea
kinds of shit's going to come out.
North Korea already making threats to the United States. They shot.
Well, they're making threats to the United States, but they're making threats actually to just the government, because they know what's going on in Taiwan.
When you got Iran, China, Russia, Venezuela, all of our enemy now getting out of control, that tells you something.
It's nothing but a gigantic game, and we have to only sit here on the sidelines and be unwilling participants.
And like I said, there's nothing that has come out that we know of that has voided this, right? That says, okay, we have actually stopped this, where they agree, because this is 17 years ago that this was signed.
Michael, they just came up like 10 days ago. The president was claiming of Ukraine, hey, we did give you all our weapons. Now you're supposed to defend us. He said that on TV. So
Everything is being exposed, people. All we have to do is sit here and watch it because everything they do, everything they say is exactly opposite of what's happening.
Does it say
And
anything
I'm
about
saying that
destroying
through
it in
my
this?
sources from different agencies.
Does it say
on
anything
TV,
about destroying the stuff in this document?
no, it doesn't say that in that document. That's what I'm telling you. They
No.
publicly say that they destroyed, but they didn't.
So right here it says, Article 1, in order to assist Ukraine in preventing the proliferation of technology, pathogens, and expertise that are located at the Scientific Research Institute of Epidemiology and Hygiene in Lviv, the Ukrainian Scientific Research Anti-Plague Institute in Odessa, the Central Sanitary Epidemiological Station in Kiev, and other facilities in Ukraine identified by the Ministry of Health in Ukraine and that could be used in the development of biological weapons, the U.S. Department of Defense shall provide assistance to the Ministry of Health of Ukraine at no cost, subject to the availability of funds appropriated for this purpose in accordance with the terms of agreement. It says the Ministry of Health of Ukraine shall use all material, including equipment, instruments, and other supplies, training of personnel, and services provided in accordance with this agreement, exclusively for the purpose of preventing the proliferation of technology, pathogens, and expertise that are located at facilities in Ukraine and that could be used in development of biological weapons.
Now let me read you this, and this came up from the national pers uh, news. It say deleted web page show Obama led an effort to build a Ukraine-based BioLab handling especially dangerous pathogens. So if you read this article, you see that when Obama took over the White House, he immediately started working with Ukraine about all this bullshit. And that's why now you see when uh, freaking Biden and Hunter spend so much time in Ukraine.
But
This is weird. I'm
what does
telling you.
Burisma have to do with this, though? Because they're an oil company. I mean, there may be a
No,
connection. I'm just wondering
because
if you know.
they didn't only get in that freaking board. They got in all their business with the Ukraine. It wasn't all.
Mm.
I mean, it's so much shit that went on with the Obama administration that is really bad. We don't know a lot of that stuff, but I mean, I just want to know about the BioLab. I
Now,
mean,
this was
that's
done
really
under
cool.
Bush.
No, the 2005
It
was
doesn't
also
make
good.
no difference
Yeah.
if you look
But
at the lineage
remember,
of the Bush family.
they were,
Bush's great granddaddy was the president of Texas National Bank.
and
He
that's why
owned they own
yesterday
oil fields there.
Yeah.
it was signed
Okay.
under Bush, but Obama is the one when he took office started building that stuff, working with the Ukrainians.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing is, you also have to remember now, from what you read a while ago, Michael,
Mm-hmm.
they were telling Ukraine, as long as you play the game, we'll keep you covered. So don't worry. Just do as you're told and you'll get your money. Now, those people live in squalor over there compared to what we live in, and we don't get shit here in the United States unless you beg for it. And they're saying, where'd all the money go, you know?
Yeah.
That's why a lot of those people over there don't like the Ukrainian government because they steal the money from them and from everybody
And
else.
that's why they elected this new guy that they had now. That's why they did, because the corruption was so big, and they know.
And he was implanted into the damn game so he could carry on the damn uh, the game rules. They never stopped making the shit. They continued making it, and they built a couple more biolabs in the process.
So, and that's the question. Did he knew that shit was taking care? It's
He's the
place.
president. He's
No, I
supposed to know that
understand.
shit.
Hey, hey, remember, these people hide a lot of shit from President Trump that he didn't know. Okay, you got a
Yeah,
bunch
but
of
it's kind of
liars
hard. It's
that they
it's
lie
kind of
all.
hard. It's kind of hard to get okayed multi-billion-dollar project to the government without the president at least saying, "What's this about?"
No, no, no.
Unless that guy is so freaking obviously obliterated that he has no idea what he's doing, then they can sneak it past him. But he knows what the hell is going on.
Now,
They told him to shut up about it and run it on through, get it
so the
done.
UN gonna have to go and check those labs. If they're really true, they're gonna have to go to Ukraine.
The UN and the daggone NATO need to both do it because NATO should have stopped their asses since they were supposed to be for the European people, which they ain't.
Man,
All
European
they want is a
people,
participation from the people to play a game
the
and get
European
them killed.
people, they just like them. The motherfucking having cut off the fucking pipeline, they still buying the oil, doing the same shit. They don't give a shit about nobody but themselves.
That's it. It's all about money, power, and control. That's all it's about.
You know,
Nothing less.
You know, it's weird. So this is just the agreement, right? We aren't seeing the actual classified information. I just realized, right? Because the actual classified information is just it's deemed classified under this agreement. Because when I went back on Google and did my search, so it's saying this was set out literally the day that this was signed. It was available to the public. This agreement right here, 2005, August 29th. But there's other information because obviously they're talking about all the stuff that had to do with the biolabs we don't know about. That has not been declassified yet. So
I got another page, another document, but I haven't.
Well,
I opened it last night, but
you know, because I just found this while you guys were talking. This is out of the Chicago Tribune, which I believe is their main newspaper, right? This says Kiev, Ukraine, the United States and Ukraine. This was August 30th, so the day after, 2005 at 12 a.m. So literally just right after. It could have been right then. Kiev, Ukraine, the United States and Ukraine signed a joint agreement here Monday to curtail the threat of bioterrorism by placing modern safeguards on deadly pathogens and other material dating from a Soviet-era biological weapons program that now could be vulnerable to theft. The agreement has a benefit for the citizens of both countries, said Senator Richard Lugar of Indiana, chairman of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, who has been working several years to achieve the U.S.-Ukraine accord. Moscow apologizes as Lugar and Senator Barack Obama met with Ukraine. This is during Bush, but Obama is the one that went over there and did this. Met with Ukrainian leaders and participated in a signing ceremony for the biological weapons agreement. The Russian Foreign Ministry issued a rare written apology to the senators for detaining them more than 3 hours Sunday as they tried to leave Russia for Ukraine. There was no immediate explanation for the delay, but Moscow officials agreed to meet with their U.S. counterparts to discuss why American planes repeatedly have encountered difficulties leaving Russia. Okay. The ministry said that the U.S. plane technically had not been detained, blah, blah, blah. I'm trying to see where... Okay. Lugar, who for more than 10 years has been working on dismantling nuclear weapons through the Cooperative Threat Reduction Program, did not dwell on the plane incident after leaving Russia and arriving in Kyiv. Instead, he sought to draw attention to the freshly minted agreement that effectively expands the 1991 Nunn-Lugar Act to allow the U.S. to help protect Ukraine's biological weapons. They didn't say destroy them, they said help protect them. Huge stockpiles of weapons left over from previous times in Ukraine are dangerous for the people of this country as well as for other countries, Lugar said, calling the agreement an achievement the U.S. has sought for nearly 4 years. 5 other Soviet republics already have signed agreements to have the U.S. help upgrade their facilities that store biological weapons. But Ukraine previously had resisted signing the agreement even after a democratic revolution last fall swept in a new team of leaders. The reluctance continued in Ukraine, which government officials attributed to Kiev's desire not to appear too close to the U.S. In a ceremony at the Central Sanitary and Epidemiological Station, the Ukraine equivalent of U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the agreement was signed by lower-level deputies from the health ministry in a small, out-of-the-way room. The agreement was barely discussed during earlier meetings Monday with President Viktor Yushchenko and other Ukrainian leaders. Now, that president,
that guy, the freaking crook motherfucker that went to jail.
Yushchenko, I believe, is the Russian, the one that was pro-Russia.
Yeah.
I think I have that back. There's two. They both started with a Y, but it's what caused all this shit going on in Ukraine, basically.
Yeah, he's the one who exposed Hunter too.
Yes.
Yeah.
No. Yes.
Yeah,
Two
he's the one
things you
who
have
came
to
out.
ask yourself about that. Okay, one, why did they send over a brand new, still wet behind the ears Senator Obama over there
Thank you,
to
Raccoon.
help
I
with
was
the
thinking about the
agreement?
same thing. You're right.
When did Obama
And
get become
why
a
did they
senator?
only talk about the shit that Russia may have left there and not what they were trying to develop or any previous ideas of developing new agents through a daggone lateral agreement? I
Yeah.
mean, there's too many answers. When we find out, if we find out what they built over there as far as the biological agents, it's going to make humanity melt.
Yeah.
Because there's shit that will actually eat the rubber off your car tires and leave the steel belts laying there.
I wonder what did he do before he was a senator? Because 2005 in January 2005 he was
He
elected.
was an activist, community activist.
Yeah, but it makes you wonder
Yeah.
what connection would he have had over there? Like, did he do something in that area with the biological stuff? Like, did he have something?
Obama was a plant, Michael. Obama was a plant. His
Yeah.
mom worked for damn CIA.
Yeah.
His grandfather worked
He's
for him
that.
too.
He received assignments on 3 committees when he was first elected: Foreign
Said that.
Relations, Environment and Public Works, and Veteran Affairs. That's the committees he served on as a senator when he first went in. So
Yeah.
during his first 3 years in the Senate, Obama focused on issues such as lobbying and ethics reform, veterans benefits, energy, nuclear non-proliferation, and government transparency. Yeah. So that's where that comes in to play there. Now, what else was I gonna add? Oh, Yushchenko was actually the American sided guy, because that's why he would have signed this deal with the U.S. Let me go back to this article though. It says new equipment would significantly shorten. Okay, the agreement would provide new equipment that would significantly shorten the time required to diagnose the outbreak of a contagious disease and assess whether it is a result of a terrorist attack. Wait, okay. I missed a lot here. Hold on. We got to go back because I missed a lot. Hold on.
Hey, Michael, it make you think now how we got this Wuhan freaking COVID-19. Huh?
I
Don't
mean,
you think this shit was planned by our own government to take Trump out? Yes, it was.
let's see. Hold on. Let me go back to this article. Okay, so okay. But the need, so this is where I left off before. But the need for the agreement was clear. Obama said that after touring the dilapidated building where viruses were stored in areas either secured by thin padlocks or not locked at all, he said the health building located near central Kiev is vulnerable to break-ins and thefts of deadly pathogens, including anthrax, diphtheria, and cholera. This agreement will help, this is a quote, this agreement will help Ukraine improve its ability to diagnose, detect, and respond to public health risks, Obama said. When it comes to issues of security against terrorist threats and security against infectious diseases, these problems know no borders. The agreement would provide new equipment that would significantly shorten the time required to diagnose the outbreak of a contagious disease and assess whether it is a result of a terrorist attack. Ukrainian officials lauds pact many of the security upgrades and other improvements to the Ukraine National Health Center are subject to the congressional approval. Lugar said he did not know how much the program would cost or when it would be completed. Dr. Lyubov Nekrasova, a director of Ukraine National Health Center, said the security upgrades and new technology were desperately needed to keep lab materials from being stolen. The common sense finally will be put higher than political difficulties that prevented us from signing this agreement. Nekrasova said Lugar and Obama are on a week-long tour of Russia, Ukraine, and Azerbaijan, inspecting destruction sites for nuclear weapons that fall under the Nunn-Lugar Act. So,
Hey, Michael, you can copy and paste that what I just sent you, and you see that article that just came out. Obama got all his fucking digital prints and all that shit.
Let's see. Let's pull it up.
It's a fucking. It's like what Raccoon say. How you gonna give a new freaking senator all this power?
What is it? This is by the nationalpulse.com.
Yes.
Obama. Okay.
Yeah.
Is this the one that came out recently? Yeah, March 8th. Oh, this came out today or yesterday. This isn't the original BioLab article that came out on some random thing the other day, but this is a deleted web article. Yeah, okay, so recovered by the National Pulse reveals that former President Barack Obama spearheaded an agreement leading to the construction of biolabs handling especially dangerous pathogens in Ukraine. The news comes on the same day that Biden regime how the fuck do you say that word? Apparatchik Victoria Nuland told the U.S. Senate that the American government is that the American government is concerned about biological research facilities falling into Russian hands as a result of the ongoing conflict in Eastern Europe.
They are freaking concerned now, huh? And Marco Rubio didn't want to talk about. He really left it like that. He should have pressed her more. But he didn't do his job.
Luger.
So now what you think? Why you think they want to go to the UN? It doesn't look good, Raccoon. What do you think, Raccoon?
The whole house of cards is tumbling on their heads, and they're trying to throw a Hail Mary pass right now.
Because this guy is not going nowhere. This guy no. And when China come out 2 days ago and mentioned that the U.S. have labs, biological labs in Ukraine, flat out something's going on.
We have biological labs all over the world. Any country that wants to make a few extra bucks for their leaders and their politicians will agree to anything we want to give them because we are the giving people. We give money to people who hate us. I say let them hate us for free myself. But just wait till China gets involved now in the South China Sea, aka Taiwan, and the shit that's going to come out of there. Okay, it's going to blow your freaking mind because they're going to show it, and there ain't a damn thing anybody's going to be able to cover up.
Yeah, that's correct.
It says, I'm just reading some of these comments now. So did you guys see now that article you just sent me, Goose? There's this picture here, and they have this. It says biolabs open in Ukraine, and then it has like a letter here, and then there's a link here. It's like www.bioprepwatch.com, and it has, I guess, some return articles and documents list. So it looks like they pulled some. I don't know if you looked at that at all. It says a 2011 report.
Yeah, they got a lot of stuff. When you start digging, more stuff start coming out. It's like, what the hell's going on? I mean, how the hell we got all this shit throughout the world? I mean, it's amazing. I mean, honestly, and I might sound crazy, but we created this freaking COVID-19. We did. We just didn't know it was going to be so bad that it got out of control. But our government created that to get Trump out, and I'm pretty sure that's what happened.
Actually, that was part of Agenda 2020, and they wanted to deplete the world's population by 2020. It's what it came out in 2016 because they had this shit in a laboratory working in 2015 when they put a patent on it. And guess who owns the patent? Mr. Fauci. I don't call him a doctor because I don't believe he is a doctor.
Frankenstein.
So a patent would have to be in the U.S., so I can look that up, right? At the patent office?
Yeah. But the thing is, look at the money.
Yep.
It was $8.2 million that was sent down there through wire, some type of they found how the money got through there. Yeah, I think it was total like $21 million.
Have you looked this up already, Raccoon, as far as that patent?
That's Dr. Pap smear. Dr. Fauci, that's Dr. Pap smear.
If I was If I was gonna look it up, should I look up Fauci's name, or is there a patent you know about that I should type in?
All you have to do is look up the latest patents on COVID-19 and all the different vaccines, and you'll see something that is completely out of the ordinary that would happen normally. And you're going to see a whole bunch of names on these patents that are all rich bastards who have been swindling the United States left and right since their
Just look for the
beginnings back in the
lobbyists.
90s.
Especially those fucking colleges, Harvard and
They're all guilty. Every one of these politicians and every corporation right now who said you must have a vaccine to work are going to fall into the category of crimes against humanity because it was an experimental drug, and under experimental drug, you cannot do an experiment on human beings without their written consent and according to the Geneva Convention. So every one of them are in false denial right now, saying it wasn't my fault. I was just doing it because it was mandated. Mandates are not laws, so it wasn't a law.
Exactly, and the court clarified that it's not.
And they're doing that right now over in the Ukraine, killing all those innocent people.
So I typed in Fauci's name on the patent office. Two things came up. One's from 2020, but there's this other one. It looks like it's from. Oh, hell, I don't even know. It's a long thing.
You're gonna need a freaking week to find all that stuff.
He's got a few of them though. All bullshit aside.
Well, it's too many rival hole. I mean, you're listening to what's this senator that talked all the time to Fauci that I was criticizing? Ron Paul. Yeah, Ron Paul is really good about that stuff. You gotta look at Ron Paul and he exposed all this shit. They got all the emails and everything in connection with the Wuhan lab. And he lied when he was in Congress testifying too.
He did. We did not send money over there. We didn't do this. Motherfucker, you sent all kind of money over there. You fucking developed the lab. Yeah. Don't give me that.
There's also a picture with Dr. Fauci and President Obama standing inside the Wuhan lab with two technicians.
What was that lady? They called that lady something, the fly lady or some. They gave
bat lady, the bat lady. They called her the bat lady.
It gets fucked up. I just don't get into it, but I don't even know what the fuck.
He's got 211 hits for Fauci's last name on the patent office. I mean, I'd have to go through and do it.
Michael,
yeah.
Can you read what Rock say?
What'd he say?
Rock. He said something about Putin. He wrote something.
Putin came out today and said USA is going to get involved. But now,
yeah, the government's got to get involved somehow just to clear their own name, but they're going to get caught. I'm looking at maybe this is going to happen all by the end of the month. This will all be cleared up and everybody be going their own damn different directions, and then China's going to jump in to keep the shit stirred up, and then the United States is going to go, oh gosh, now we got to go against China. Well, we've been buying shit from China for how long since they've been told that they're now our new enemy? They're on our northern border right now. Been up in Canada for 2 freaking years doing Arctic training, but it snows in China just as bad. Why?
Yeah.
Why do they have 30,000 of them or better? I think it's 75,000 down in goddamn Mexico right now having summer training. And they've been down there for 2 years since this all started.
And according to some report, we have more than 20,000 freaking, how you call those cells in the United States? Silent cells, whatever.
Sleepers, yeah.
Sleeper cells, yeah, in the United States. Another thing that I want to let you know, that Russia is sending, got the help of the Syrian government, and they're sending troops right now to Ukraine.
Say that again?
the Syrians.
Oh yeah, I knew
They,
that. Yeah, he requested those. Yeah.
they're sending troops there now. Remember, Russian kept
Right.
Assad in the government. They did. So they got a payback, and they're gonna send troops down there.
Yeah. Oh, I listened to an interview with Assad, and he is all about Putin. He is all about Putin. He is indebted to Putin. And you know,
We don't need to get involved in this shit. We don't need to.
yeah,
We are not ready for this shit.
yeah, and that's it's honestly smart on Putin's side of going and calling the Syrians up because they've been fighting urban warfare for the last 10, 15 years, and they like fighting. Those freaking people like fighting.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
I said that the
why
other
he
day.
wants them, because they're used to fighting in like urban or street fighting. You know what I mean?
Fine, yeah.
Yeah.
Remember, we good at it right now because all these last 20 years, we have to
we
switch
should
our
be.
tactics and all that
Iraq,
stuff.
right?
But we are not ready. We are not ready to go a ground war right now. We don't need that. Our kids, they are really. Our army is, doing really bad. Our leadership is. We don't need to take that war.
It's not a fucking.
We gotta wait
No,
for
we don't.
wait for some of those soldiers to finish their hormone treatments on their transitions. I hate
Hey,
doing that.
hey,
I don't
There
want to
ain't
give you
There
guys.
ain't even enough of them to make a speed bump, guys. There ain't enough soldiers in this United States Army to make a speed bump on the East Coast. Okay? It's going to be up to the United States people. That's why we have a Second Amendment, and that's why we have a Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. As simple as that.
Raccoon, you're right. We got less than 500,000 active duty personnel. Less than.
And the
And
guys,
right
the
now,
guys in the National Guard are going to want to say, "Hell no, I ain't going. I got to protect my family, so I'm staying home." What are they going to do? Go over and shoot the guy? Then he's out of the. Then he's out of it for good.
They don't have an option, do they?
Shit.
Spicoli, they're gonna
In time
take
of
you back
war,
there.
in a time of war, our government can do shit you people don't even realize.
Oh yeah.
No, what I'm
They can take
asking is,
everybody above the age of 14 years old if they have to.
Goddamn,
And there
Raccoon.
was a lot of
sir,
14-year-olds that were
I don't,
in all the different wars.
I don't want to go to another land to defend. I will stay here in the United States and I will defend my land here. I don't want to go to
We have to
hell.
defend ourselves.
You're right. You're
We have
too
to defend
you're too
ourselves.
old.
There's
I'm
nobody
saying
going to
that
help
the
us.
I'm probably the
National
only one on this
Guard-
podcast that be forced to get sent over there. I'm still in my 20s. I'm fucking done. They're
No,
sending
I
my
want to
ass.
stay here and defend my country. Now, if they come here,
I'm-
they have to fight me.
Um,
But I'm going to go to Ukraine.
Guys, I'm in my mid-60s, and I'll still fight the son of a bitches if they come over
That's
here.
right, brother. That's right. I'll be going Montana. Raccoon.
Don't come here, man.
I do want to talk about this because I've looked
You'll
into
scare
this.
the freaking cows, and we'll have a stampede. It'll kill everybody, man.
But I've looked into this a lot. The only way, if you think about this, right? Think about how long it took Russia to move soldiers over to Ukraine. It took almost a year on land to mobilize all that over there and get this thing going, right? The only way they could have mobilized it and invaded the U.S. is if they had been bringing people across the southern border, which I said they could be doing for the last year undetected.
Yeah, but that's only a couple million people. I mean, you got to take in consideration.
You got to have a lot.
When you have somebody trying to break in your door, are you going to call the cops and say, "Come get this guy"?
No.
If you live in a decent state that has a castle doctrine, you shoot the son of a bitch and don't even ask him any questions. Just nail his ass and any shots as it takes to stop him. It's better to have
killed fucking over 7,000 or 6,000 fucking Russians already. That's more people than we lost.
That ain't shit though.
But that's not
Spicoli, it would have to take over 70 million soldiers to take out the entire United States.
Oh, it would take way more than that.
Not about the United States.
I'm just saying as a minimum, 70 million of them would have to come over here and fight hand to hand, and they would have to have constant damn people coming over here to replenish the ones that get killed.
Hey, guy, when you go against somebody that you're gonna attack, remember those people are in the defensive posture. Let's say they
You
got one.
fight like you're
They say they got
you
one.
fight
That's
like you're the
the
third
part.
monkey on Noah's
You,
Ark and it's
you,
getting ready
you
to
force
rain.
The third
raccoon. Your
monkey.
force has to be 3 times of the people that you're gonna attack. You got 1,000 people. I have to take 3,000 because they are in a defensive posture. That's how we American fight. Me as an infantryman, airborne, air assault, high speed. That's what we did. We didn't. We take 2 companies, 3 companies, depending on how many people we think we're gonna go against. You go against the different.
Right.
It's more difficult.
With only 29 guys, dug in, it takes a company to get them out.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well,
Okay, it takes a company. That's almost 100 guys it has to take to get 25 out.
it says they're about 5-1 in Ukraine right now, and they're getting their
3 to
ass
1.
whooped.
No, bullshit, Mike.
Oh.
That's bullshit. Those people are throwing their weapons down. Did you see that pile of weapons they had on YouTube?
No. Other with the
People are just
Ukrainians
leaving
to the
damn
Russians, I'm
weapons
saying.
laying on the ground and walking away.
No, flip it. I'm talking about Ukrainians to Russians. 5-1. So the Russians are so outmatched, it's ridiculous. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, bullshit. No,
We don't
Mike.
know that yet,
Mike.
because we don't know.
They're a
the
fucking superpower, man. They got more than 70,000 people. They had more than a 40-mile convoy. Okay, they have enough people to take Ukraine and not have anybody standing in there if they wanted it.
Michael, you know what the
We
forces
blew it
do?
up today.
Michael, we
Yeah.
do the same thing. Before we go invade a city, we bump the shit out of them
I
like
know.
for 3-4 days.
Yeah, I know.
And then we go in. Once we go in, you start giving up. I'm giving up. I'm tired of this shit. Okay, get out.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong though, because look, you guys fought in Afghanistan and Iraq. Okay, Afghanistan is where it really I think notices because it was a little more publicized as far as recently. The Ukrainians and the Iraqis, two completely different perspectives because or not the Iraqis, the military we built with the Afghans were all stoners and they laid down their weapons the first day. They didn't even want to fight for their home. These people are like, hey, we're fucking fighting to the death in Ukraine. It's a big difference than, you know what I mean, in mentality.
That's why everybody's leaving. That's why everybody's leaving Ukraine right now. They got the freaking borders flooded with goddamn people trying to leave.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
And they're saying, no, you can't leave. You got to stay here and fight, and people are getting lost.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? If Russia wanted to come in there, they would have staged all their damn armies on the side and kept only a contingency around Moscow to protect it.
Mm-hmm.
Then they would have stomped that damn country into oblivion.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's what we would have done.
Russians don't screw around,
we
man.
could have stomped a lot of fucking countries into oblivion, but we didn't.
Yeah, but we weren't allowed to stomp countries into oblivion because it doesn't help the damn war machine.
Yeah.
They make these people make money off of the canteens you're drinking out of, the utensils you're eating, the MREs you got. There's billions to be made, and if you're into the stocks that these guys have, invest in them now because they're getting ready to start throwing money down.
War does not make money anymore, brother.
Yeah, it does. The military-industrial complex makes a lot of money. Why do you think they want to drag this thing on?
Makes
it still
industrial
makes
complex.
money,
That's why they want this shit to
like
continue.
World War II, the fucking Korean War, the Vietnam War. Doesn't do the same.
I'll tell you.
They made billions and billions. In Vietnam, they made over $7 trillion in the
Vietnam
industry.
War that did. I'm saying since then, war does not make money since the Vietnam War. It's not
bullshit. We just got out of a 20-year war that made them billions of dollars, man. A 20-year war, you think they didn't make anything out of it? They wouldn't have fought the damn thing.
Yeah.
What do we
They make money off all them damn tanks they sent over there. Cost a minimum of $1 million a piece once they're outfitted.
Way more. It's not even
Each soldier is worth almost $100,000 in equipment.
Raccoon, we left $89 billion in equipment in Afghanistan.
Yeah, and that was just a couple rooms full and a couple parking lots full.
I'm talking about it. You say over the past 20 years, from 2000, 9/11 until now.
It's way more than Vietnam. You know why? Because the amount of technology we're using as well is way fucking more advanced than what they were using in Vietnam too.
Yeah.
Way more advanced.
One fucking bomb that they dropped over there, the only time it was ever used in war, cost $1.5 million to deliver and drop.
Tomahawk is like 1 point some.
Here's the other thing. Here's the other thing you guys are forgetting about too is research and development. Is the government contracts. It's not necessarily that's what's being sent over to other countries, but since when you're in a wartime, it's all about development of new technology. That's why the Cold War advanced society. Honestly, we say what we want about the Cold War, but it's probably one of the best things that ever happened to the humankind as far as technological advances. We went to the moon because of it. All the space travel we had because of it. Fucking satellite TV. All that shit came from the Cold War. Right? NASA, all that shit.
Between the Korean War and the middle of the damn Vietnam War, you know what we got rid of? They killed a lot of goddamn soldiers on the battlefield. A freaking metal canteen. Who did they get to make the new plastic canteen? Mattel. Who did they get to make the handguards for all the rifles they use? Mattel.
Isn't that the
toy makers were making shit? Hell, we made weapons for the Russian Revolution. We were the ones that made the Mosin Nagant with Remington typewriter and goddamn Dow. Those people made the son of bitches, made by 19 different companies here in the United States for a Russian Revolution. And we were told to make the damn things for them.
Not all the plastic, but a lot of the plastics that's in the fucking gun
comes out of oil production.
Soldiers carrying is made by Mattel. I'm asking that.
Hey, I got my toys.
Mattel makes a lot of stuff.
I got my
Mattel makes a lot of stuff out of plastics, but you also look at the fact that MREs are in a plastic bag. It has to be made, and those are made by a different freaking company. And then you have shit like the spoons. The spoons are made by somebody else. The pencils, the pens, the watches the guys are wearing, the daggone glasses they're wearing. All that shit comes together. You find out they make trillions every time we have a war. They made $1 trillion just off a damn 4-day Grenada invasion.
I thought it was 1 day.
Actually, they said it was 4.
Raccoon, you got there to Grenada?
Huh?
You went to
I was in Grenada.
Yeah, because you joined before I did. I joined after that.
I joined in 75, man.
God damn, Raccoon. God bless you, my friend.
I was fighting the Cold War, and I started looking at all the shit that was going on after.
When I joined? Are you sure you weren't no Madrid sergeant?
Well, I was in the infantry for 4 years, and I became a medic after that. I just said, "Fuck this, I'm gonna go be a medic."
That's why I got a lot of respect for you, because I was infantry.
I like my coffee. What can I say?
Yeah, you gotta have that coffee in the morning. You know that.
If you want a cup of coffee, come to the aid station. Sealy's making it. Hell, even battalion commander came over to get coffee in the morning because there was no other place to get it.
Hey, I can say this to Raccoon and to Goose and Maverick, but he ain't up here. Thank y'all for fucking serving, man.
Thank you, my brother.
Thanks for paying your taxes. It made it all worthwhile.
Golly, but remember, I drink Bacardi with rum most of the time in the infantry.
Oh yeah, I carried a few canteens of rum with me too.
Whatever your DOC is, I don't give a fuck. I'll pay for it.
Hey, when we are in the army, we don't talk politics. We don't even say anything. We just do our job. And that's it.
Yep. I didn't even vote till I retired out because I didn't want it to take me away from my focus in my job. When I got out, the first person I had to vote for was for Bush. The other was a fucking idiot, so I had to vote for Bush.
Uh,
I didn't want to, but I had
You
to.
vote for the lesser of the two evils. You don't
Exactly.
vote for the better man.
I,
You vote
I
for
already
the
knew. I already knew whatever they were promising wasn't going to happen.
correct.
but look,
It's been 2 years. It's been 2 years politicizing around like one of Mike's friends, and then he spends 2 years trying to get out of the promises he made while he was trying to get elected. Then he spends 2 more years trying to get reelected and promising bullshit that he ain't going to pass on either. It's all a big game.
It is. It's a fucking circle jerk.
It is. That's why they call a group of baboons a Congress. Now you understand.
hey,
No, I've
Raccoon,
got
I'm not
that
gonna lie.
name for-
I liked your comment earlier. You said, damn it, you said they got to fight like the third baboon on Noah's Ark.
No, the third monkey on the ramp of Noah's Ark, and it's starting to rain.
That's funny.
No holds barred. No holds barred. Nut punches are available.
Well, maybe he's gender fluid and he can go both ways, Raccoon. So maybe he doesn't have to fight as hard.
So
No, you still want you still throat punch him in the end.
Raccoon, how do you think this shit's gonna end up?
What?
How do you think it's gonna end
Let it
up this
last
shit with
a
Russia?
little while.
I think that Russia will have this all sold up by the end of March, and everything will be back to normal. And then China's going to jump in on Taiwan, and then the whole damn thing's going to start all over again, and more evil's going to be brought out. And these son of bitches ain't going to be able to hold their faces because they're done. Everybody knows they're done. I mean, we're facing an oil shortage. We don't have a shortage of freaking oil. We were the largest producer of oil in the world.
Good point. I wanted to talk about this.
Can you believe that we buy 21 fucking percent of our oil or our almost made gasoline comes from fucking Russia?
No, it's only 4%, but it's zero right now.
4%.
4 or
4%.
5%.
So, but I wanted to say
That's
something.
3%. 3% of oil. 21%. Look it up, man. I looked it up. Is fucking it's you could call it gasoline, but it's not fucking
Coal plant.
what?
Russia is selling all the coal to China too.
Yeah.
But
China had
shit
their coal. China had their coal mines.
All we have to do is fucking refine it a little bit more, and it's gasoline.
Don't you
That's
remember
fucking
that
bullshit.
freaking
This
Russia
country's
bought
got all the
all the
oil,
uranium?
gasoline. Fuck that.
China had all their coal mines filled full of water, and they were asking the United States for help, and they said, "We'll buy it at any cost." So they started digging it again. Now I have a train going out down south of town here from the coal mine about 40 miles away, heading to the west coast.
So,
We
but
don't have any oil, or don't have any coal burners out that way.
you said something though that I wanted to speak on. I forgot actually because I brought it up. I think in y'all show last night, Goose.
Yeah.
There hasn't been a shortage, and I wanted to say this. Now we don't know what supply is because we don't know how much gas is left underneath the freaking ground at the gas stations, right? We don't know that, but
That's oil. Oil.
Well, gas at the gas stations that they put in to supply the cars. That's gas under there.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
In the tanks. I thought you meant out of the ground.
No. In the tanks, like at the gas stations.
Yeah.
And so we can't see that. What I'm saying is, but supply. I have not been to a gas station yet, and as far as I know, everyone's still driving to work because everyone's still bitching and complaining about paying $4 a gallon or plus a gallon for gas. And there hasn't been a shortage. I have not gone to one gas station and seen any.
You in the freaking
There won't
Michael,
be a shortage.
We got shortage here in Southwest. I went to fill out my tank.
Let Mike finish what he was saying.
So
let Mike finish what he was saying.
Good.
The only gas they had was the high octane gas.
Well,
that's it. They didn't have the regular.
But what I'm saying though is that gas prices are still up, right? So You
Yeah.
go and you
They'll
look at
continue to rise.
you go and you look at well, what sets the gas prices? It says supply and demand, but I've also, because I was curious about this, because I am in the stock market and the futures market, right? Because I know the marketplace also has somewhat of a say, especially futures. Now, for those of you that don't know what a future is, it's, to keep it simple, it's a derivative, but it is basically someone's future outlook on like a commodity. So let's say,
Yeah, like $300 a barrel in the next few weeks.
yeah, so
130
when they talk about
right now.
the price per barrel, like crude is at $100 a barrel, right? They're looking at
No,
the
112.
futures. No,
112.
I don't care what it is. I'm giving you an example, Goose. All right. What I'm saying is, when you see that and they say stuff like that, they're talking about the futures price of crude. Then you have the other one is Brent oil. You have a different color, but crude is the one that they look at primarily. Now, I think Goose just said it was like 112, whatever it is. Okay. Now, last night I said, because right before your show, Goose, I did some reading and I was like, why couldn't, if there is not a shortage and we're not experiencing a shortage, okay? Because for prices to go up, that means that demand has to be higher than supply, or it's increasing, right? Why couldn't?
No.
Yes, supply and demand is the main
Right.
set of the price,
in
but
that world,
also future outlook with those futures contracts. Why couldn't the government? And now I'm not saying this is legal. I'm not saying that investors would like this, and other countries in OPEC damn sure wouldn't like it, but to me that's kind of a reason to do it. Why couldn't the government go to the Fed and say, look, you are going to do something similar to what they did with quantitative easing back in COVID, where they can go and, in simple layman terms, pump money into the markets, okay, and manipulate it. Why couldn't they manipulate the pricing, the cost of those futures downwards? And
that's because we quit buying fucking Russian oil. That's what.
No, they got a damn thing to do with it. That ain't got a damn thing to do with it. The oil market is speculative only. They say we want to get this much money per barrel, and we're not selling it any less. Now, oil companies all over my area here, which is 3 states, have been pumping oil out, and it was going to the refineries directly because they came in and put the oil lines in. Now the jack pumps are shut off. Why are they shut off? They've already oil drilled. They've already got the permit. And now all they're doing is running the oil in. But yet the government says, no, shut them down. We don't want it. Now, you're going to have to pay more per gallon. That is brought on by the people who own the damn oil refineries. I live near 3 oil refineries.
Come on, guy. That's not how that shit works.
Oh, bullshit.
You have to fucking use a goddamn time to freaking transfer that shit from place to place like Canada is doing. When you take the Keystone Pipe, where you can go ahead, send a bunch of freaking trucks, load it up from that pipe, send it to different city. It won't cost that much money. Now,
what kind of oil, Goose, is the Keystone Pipeline supposed to be holding in it? Do you know what's in that oil?
You need to read what one of the CEOs say. That's why they don't want to do it, because they don't have no way. It's going to be too expensive to transport.
No, that's beside the point. That's beside the point, Goose. Listen to me a minute, Goose. Goose, listen to me a minute. That is oil sand. It's sand mixed with oil. They don't want it up there, so we wanted to buy it from them for I think it was $3 a gallon, because the refining is so damn hard to do, but yet in the end benefit, you've got more oil. Now, you also have to remember that Donald Trump sent over all the oil ships he could find to bring oil from the Middle East, because they were selling it at negative $33 a barrel, which means we'll pay you to haul the shit off. We have nowhere to put it. We can't stop the oil production.
They couldn't.
So we brought it over here.
Plus anything, we were making them go bankrupt. They were so mad out of freaking Trump because we were producing.
Why were we doing that though, Goose? That's what you got to ask yourself. Why?
because Trump.
So we could get away from the petrodollar and
Thank
go to a
you.
gold standard.
Thank you. Thank you. That's the way
But
to do it.
that got tripped up when they put Biden in the White House.
We
And they
all know
picked
that,
him.
Raccoon.
That
We know
Yeah.
he solved everything.
The thing I'm saying, the thing I'm trying to get through to you is we don't have an oil shortage and we shouldn't be buying it from anybody. They should be buying it from us. But they want to cripple our economy. If you're paying $10 a gallon, you're not going to be able to pay for your house or your utilities or enough food to get you through the month. They got you by the balls.
That green bullshit Green Deal. That Green Deal that they want to impose on us. All that electrical car, that bullshit. That's a bunch of fucking crap.
It is. They showed that in Texas when all that damn freezing rain got on there and locked up all the damn windmills, and people
And
went
they go on TV
went crazy.
and they laugh about it like it's a joke.
Yeah.
Wasn't windmills, man. It just fucked shit up because we froze.
And Biden and Obama had a discussion, and Obama said to Biden, "No, Joe, not crack pipes, cracked pipes."
A Solid Blue Sister asked a question.
He still doesn't get it.
Going back to, she said, how do you explain the long gas lines in 1971 and 72 during the Nixon administration? People were in line for hours. So I am not.
That
I have not read a whole.
Yeah.
Different era, man.
So
that was in 77. I was trying to get gas during that time. That was during 77. It jumped up to 88 cents a gallon, and you had to have a certain license plate number to get gas.
Yeah, and that was a supply and demand issue. Ultimately, obviously, it's a little more complex, but when you're talking about imports and exports and what led to that, it was still ended up being a supply and demand issue. Even now, it could be, but would you not say that there were shortages of oil at that time or shortages of gas because they'd be waiting in line because of how much there's little gas, right? There's too many people trying to get all that gas. Right now, though, there's no. I haven't experienced any lines. Gas prices are increasing, but there's no gas stations shut. There's no supply down.
Michael, here in Florida, Southwest, there's lines everywhere.
A friend of mine went to pick up diesel yesterday, and he did find a few places that didn't have diesel. Okay, they didn't have had gas, but didn't have diesel, and he had to run around a little bit to find diesel in the small area he's in. But that stuff comes in by truck. It goes to relay stations, or it comes straight from the refineries. Like people say, well, they're having an oil shortage on the East Coast. That's because they got so many trucks lined up at the daggone fill stations that they've got set up along the way. They don't have to drive 500 miles to send gas anywhere. It goes to them through the pipeline, the East Coast pipeline.
And that's what I'm talking about.
And they locked that sucker up a few months back. People started freaking the frick. I mean, they were going ballistic. Mm-hmm. But they said, oh, it was just a hack and we got over it. Now everything's back to normal. Mm-hmm. Now we have this shit going on. They're going to do this shit all damn summer if they're allowed to. I don't think they're going to get that far.
Here's what I want to point out, though. Regardless of it, gas is a very big influence and indicator on inflation. So going back to
7.9, Mike, today 7.9. It keep rising.
Well, yeah, and I saw that. So that's the highest since the 70s, by the way. But going back to the mid to late 70s, and then in the early 80s, 80 and 81.
That's 40 years.
Right?
That's 40 years.
Yeah. So inflation and gas kept going up, but also, gas prices kept going up, but inflation as well. And we're not near the inflation that they had then, but we could get there. Don't think it's impossible. It is definitely possible. And interest rates would have to go up that high too. I don't know what's going to happen. Okay, I know they're going to raise interest rates starting this month. Apparently, I don't see the Fed.
They already did raise it.
Yep.
They were projecting to raise it. I don't know if they talked about doing it or they've officially raised
it last month to 3.3, 3.5, something like that.
I thought it started in March.
Yep.
that was starting March. Either way, it doesn't matter. They're gonna go up. They're gonna keep going up. Okay, it's gonna go up a lot higher than 1 or 2% that they're projecting. A lot higher, and that impacts everything. It does. Now, either way, it was good that it's going up because it's combat. That's what they do to combat inflation. It was inevitable. Okay, rates were gonna go up.
What you talking about the rate? Yeah,
the
you got to
interest
make
rates.
money out of somewhere.
Yeah, well, they
Yeah.
have to take money out of supply, right? They have to. That's how they combat inflation. That's the main way they do it.
They have to beg. They have to beg the Fed, which is controlled by the bankers, to print some more money that makes it useless. Because once they start printing more money, the value goes
Hell
down.
no.
Therefore, you
Inflation goes
pay
super
more.
high, Raccoon. You can't
I
print no
mean,
more
Yeah.
money.
They need to
ain't
take it out
doing
of
us any
circulation.
service. They're not doing us any service by sitting there asking the Fed to print more money to help out the stimulus
That's
or
why
the,
you want
the
to raise the
inflation.
interest rate.
Yes, that's why. But
That way you can make
Raccoon's right.
some money.
They're all making money out of it.
Because we're in this because of the money they printed with these past stimulus and all these bills and the spending, right? And
Thank
then
you, thank you.
they're raising rates because they need to take some of that money out of circulation. It's bringing it basically back into the Federal Reserve, right? I'm just keeping this simple in layman terms, all right? They raise interest rates, make cost of borrowing more expensive. That means people aren't getting as many loans. They're going to be a little stricter on who's getting loans, and the interest rates that are being paid back, more money's going back to the banks and then therefore going back to the Fed. And that helps combat inflation, okay? The markets are going to probably, you're already seeing it, right? When interest rates rise, it affects the markets in the short term.
Hey, Michael, we're going to hit a depression pretty soon.
Well,
Just be prepared.
it would take
We are.
The last depression was caused by the Rothschilds because the Rothschilds own all the money, and the Rothschilds said, "I don't care who's in office. If I have the money, I control the country." Think about it.
We're going to go into a recession.
They collapsed
Recession
the
and a
banks.
depression.
They collapsed the banks and the daggone stock market in '29, and
So
guess who
start
made
buying
out like a
land,
fat
save
rat?
money, cash money, get prepared because it's coming.
Be prepared.
Just so you know how they dictate a recession, guys, is like it's 2 negative quarters of GDP growth. All right. And a recession, I think, or not a recession, a depression is either 3 or 4. I want to say it's 4.
It's 4.
Yeah. And that has to be consecutive, too, by the way, of negative GDP growth. So it doesn't mean the stock market did negative, but usually if the stock market's doing negative 4 quarters straight, that's a good indicator that we're in a depression.
It's going to
Yep.
keep getting worse.
What's up, BP?
The more we get this freaking worse.
When it goes into the bull market, be prepared.
Well, we
Well,
want a bull
anyway,
market. I want a
hey,
bull
that-
market.
We're going to hit that freaking $40 trillion debt next year. So what the heck?
I
There ain't
think
no
we're already
difference.
past
We'll
that.
never be able to repay it back
Yeah,
with the
that
interest
freaking debt
involved.
ceiling. And you know what? That's what they're doing. They want to destroy the dollar. These democratic evil people. That's what they're trying to do.
Now, they did sign
They
an
have to
executive
destroy
order
the
yesterday.
dollar to bring down the United States.
They did
because
sign-
We have all the money.
They did sign an executive order yesterday. I didn't talk about
Hey,
this
we
today.
don't have no freaking money. That
About-
goddamn for Knox don't have no money there.
They signed an executive order yesterday. Biden signed an executive order yesterday, looking into how to like basically manage crypto, and because they want to enforce the taxes on crypto. The taxes are already in place on crypto, right? But they want to enforce it, which is how they were gonna gain revenue to help pay for the infrastructure bill, by the way. But the other thing that was in this, they're looking into basically what a U.S. digital currency would look like and how that would operate as well.
That's how they want to go. That's how they want to go digital. Michael, that's correct. That's their plan. According to one of the senators, I got an insight from the staff that's what they're trying to do, go digital.
And when they go to digital, they'll go to a social credit score, and when you piss them off, they'll shut your bank account down, and you'll be broke.
I do want
That's why
to.
I'm moving to Montana, Raccoon, that way I don't have to do that.
Well, think about the
Yep.
risk of a digital currency, right? We're worried right now about cyber attacks and on our electrical grids and all that. Well, if you do a digital currency, here's one thing that's inevitable. Okay, I think something they talked about in that was, okay, it's going to lower fees, because maybe banks won't be involved. There will always be some sort of centralized, because you have a wallet, right? If you have cash, you got to have cash in your wallet. That's a place to hold it. When you have Bitcoin, you got to have the same kind of thing. It has to be designated in an area to make it yours. and then that area needs to be controlled and and has security and protection and all that stuff, right? Like a bank account.
Yeah.
You tell me another way of doing it where it's just yours, right? You can't. It has to, because it has to have connections if you're going to use it to where you can pay for it and allow transfer of that. There's a lot of things. It has to have some kind of centralized or linkage, right? So, yeah, maybe you lower fees, but it's not going to undercut banks, or it's not going to.
So
It
it's
it
no
can't.
more money laundering,
What's that?
Michael. If that happens, the cartel gonna have to go crypto too. So how they gonna freaking launder their money now?
Well, because they're not going to cut
They
out
got them
Bitcoin.
cartels are in. The cartels are involved in or they gone DEA, so they don't have any problem getting their money as long as they keep the drugs flowing.
Well, I'll tell you what they're
Been
going to do,
fighting that
Goose.
war since the '60s, man, and they haven't
Michael, don't you think
haven't
they're
won it yet.
laundering all that money and everything?
What'd you say?
Because that would be a better way to control the money that's going around without any accountability.
It would, if they went to a U.S. digital currency, it would allow them to tax everything, literally everything. Because think about this: if I pay you in cash, Goose, I go and I paint your house for you, whatever, right? And you're like, yeah, here's $1,000 for doing that. If you gave me cash, I don't have to report that. No one knows about that transaction. The only people that may know is if you went to your bank and withdrew it, but it's not their business. It was already yours, right? It's already taxed technically. They want to get around that. They don't. That's why they wanted to monitor, those $500 transactions and on all that, because they want to be able to tax all of that, because they know that people are going out and getting paid in cash and working their way around this. But in having the digital currency, they would be able to track everything on what you got paid for, why this was given to you. That's why they want to look at your Venmos and all that.
Yeah. That's true.
And that's what it'll allow them to do. It'll allow them to enforce tax laws that are already in place, but literally make everyone pay them and not necessarily work around them.
To pay the
it'll hold everyone accountable to the laws that are in place, but it's not like everyone's gonna be okay with this, because I'm not. I don't want that, right? I deduct everything I can. I don't want to pay taxes. I'm sorry, I don't.
we pay taxes since Jesus' times. We always pay taxes, but the thing is that there's some people get away than others. So,
but
rich people don't pay fucking taxes.
Me
and Raccoon pay taxes all the time.
There's always going to be ways around the taxes. There's always going to be ways for certain people to get around the taxes, right? And there's always going to be people that just don't pay them.
More difficult.
What's that?
Going digital would be more difficult.
Way more difficult, yes.
It'd be more difficult to get your money too.
It'd probably be more
digital.
Good. I'd say it'd be more instantaneous. It'd be easier. It would feel more convenient to the majority of society. All right, it may not even feel more convenient. It'd be like using your credit card.
A strip club. How we pay the girl in a strip club?
She's gonna have to get a damn a swiper installed in her ass.
Hey, Michael. Michael, if you go digital with the currency, now just remember, they know anything and everything you buy.
Yeah.
Because there'll be a computerized record of everything you bought. They'll know how many Twinkies your ass eats.
So for all you guys on those porn subscriptions,
they want control. And Thomas Jefferson said it best: if you give up one right for security, you deserve neither.
Yep. I mean, there's not going to be any more prostitution. They're going to know exactly, what'd you buy on the fucking street corner in the hood last week, right? You live 40 miles away.
FEMA camp somewhere, and that'd be it.
But no, that's a good point. I mean, they're going to know everything, and like Goose brought up the strippers, and I made a joke, but honestly, in all seriousness, what do strippers get paid with? They get paid in cash. And how are they really claiming that? If they do, very, very little. And that way, to be honest, Goose, what they would do is they probably have a thing where you go up and you keep swiping on the stage, and it's giving them the money, and then it just goes directly to them. But the government would tax all of that. Now all those people are being taxed.
If hookers got paid on an hourly basis, and somebody has to control their money, and the person controlling their money at the top will be probably a politician or a law enforcement agent of some sort to skirt the daggone system. And that will expose them. So they don't want that shit. They don't want anybody to really be able to do that without them having the okay. I mean, hookers don't get tax refunds and they don't get medical coverage, only what the pimp wants them to have. Just like the government is nothing more than a pimp.
Hey, do you have a strip club?
They want you to have governmental fucking service, but they don't want to give you the right amount to heal you. They just rather let you be treated for the rest of your life.
Raccoon, when the last time you went to a strip club?
Shit, back in 79.
That didn't have no swipe.
They were still collecting cash back then.
Back then we used to use $1 bills. Now they're using 20s and 50s.
Not me. I still use ones. I'm a cheap ass.
At a strip club probably in the fucking 90s or the early 2000s.
You're a bunch of young guys anyway.
Man.
Come on, Raccoon. I know back in Desert Storm,
$20 in the. You're probably stuffing $20 in the G-string where I only had to put in $1.
Hey, I heard Iraq had some bomb strip clubs back in Desert Storm. Come on now.
I don't know. I was out in the middle of the damn desert.
I heard they would even take off their face cloth.
Yeah, the burqa.
Hey, you'd be surprised what them women do behind the old man's back.
Hey, you have to have a diplomatic freaking shit to go.
You'd be surprised what those women would do behind their old man's back when he's kneeling on the prayer rug. They're showing
it's about to get cut off.
To you.
And I appreciate you guys coming in and thank you.
Hey, Michael, we appreciate what you do, man.
Thank you guys.